This passage is adapted from a Wall Street Journal piece on new technology that allows filmmakers to create foreign language versions of their movies using samples of the original actors' voices. London-based artificial intelligence firm Sonantic recently worked with actor Val Kilmer. It recreated nearly 2 minutes of his voice using samples from his films. The writer wants to combine the underlined sentences. Which choice best accomplishes this goal? Recently working with actor Val Kilmer, but using samples from his films, London-based artificial intelligence firm Sonantic recreated nearly 2 minutes of his voice. Recreating nearly 2 minutes of his voice, London-based artificial intelligence firm Sonantic recently worked with actor Val Kilmer using samples from his films. London-based artificial intelligence firm Sonantic, using samples from his films, recently recreated nearly 2 minutes of his voice, working with actor Val Kilmer. London-based artificial intelligence firm Sonantic recently worked with actor Val Kilmer to recreate nearly 2 minutes of his voice using samples from his films. So it's D, right? If you notice here, it's concise and it conveys the idea that this AI firm worked with the actor to recreate 2 minutes of his voice using samples from his films. So this is active voice. It's concise and conveys the idea properly. Now in A, I have a problem with this but, because if I'm saying recently working with actor Val Kilmer, why would I say but, right? I can simply say recently working with actor Val Kilmer and using samples from his films. London-based artificial intelligence firm recreated nearly 2 minutes of his voice, right? So this but is a problem. So I don't like A. Recreating nearly 2 minutes of his voice. Now this is a little funny because I'm introducing the actor at the end, but I'm talking about him in the beginning. So that doesn't make sense. And here also I'm introducing him in the end, but I'm talking about everything else in the beginning. So the order is a little distorted. So D is the best answer. The AI generated model for Mr. Kilmer, who lost his voice to throat cancer, sounded so real, it moved his son to tears. Now here I need to choose the correct preposition. So the way it's written, the AI generated model for Mr. Kilmer, who lost his voice to throat cancer. This is correct. To lose something to something, right? So he lost his voice to throat cancer. So 2 is correct. You can't use in, for, and from with losing, right? To lose his voice to throat cancer, not any of these. So this is idiomatic. You need to understand the correct preposition to use in this context. Welcome to the magical world of AI-generated voice alteration. The next time you see a movie or TV show that was dubbed from a foreign language, the voices you hear may not belong to actors who re-recorded dialogue in a sound booth. Besides, they may not belong to actors at all. Okay, so now we are speaking about the main topic, which is AI-generated voice alteration. And the passage says, the next time you see a movie or TV show which was dubbed from a foreign language, you may not be hearing actors' voices, right? Because it was not actors who did it. So here I'm saying they may not be actors at all. And I'm kind of specifying or emphasizing the point in the previous sentence. The voices you hear may not belong to the actors. So not only will they not belong to the actors, but in fact, they won't belong to a human at all, right? So besides does not fit here because besides means in addition. While here I need to kind of emphasize the previous sentence, so it's not A. Okay, instead would make sense if I was saying the voices that you hear will not belong to actors. Instead, they would be generated by artificial intelligence, right? So that would make sense if I'm presenting the other option. But here I'm saying they may not belong to actors. So I'm emphasizing the previous sentence. I'm not presenting an alternative. So it's not instead. Furthermore is similar to besides. Furthermore is when I give additional information. So that again is not correct. So in fact is the right answer, because if I say that the voices would not belong to actors who have re-recorded dialogues, in fact, they won't belong to actors at all. In fact, they won't belong to human beings at all. It would be AI, right? So I'm stressing that. In fact, this would be the case. So D is the best answer. Highly sophisticated digital voice manufacturing, entertainment executives say it could bring a revolution in sound as industry changing as computer graphics were for visuals. Okay, so here I need to decide the correct sentence structure. So my main sentence is highly sophisticated digital voice manufacturing could bring a revolution in sound as industry changing as computer graphics were for visuals. That's my main sentence. And entertainment executives say is additional information, right? So this is something that entertainment executives say. So I'll put a comma before entertainment and after say to indicate that this is additional. And this it is wrong because I already have a subject in the sentence, which is highly sophisticated digital voice manufacturing. So I need an option which has say and a comma. So option C is the right answer. So any option that says it is incorrect. So A and B are wrong. And option D is wrong because I cannot have a colon in the middle of a sentence, right? So D does not make sense. The only option that makes sense is a comma after say. Production houses are using AI to create human-like voices from samples of a living actor's voice, models that not only sound like specific performers, but also speak any language, cry, scream, laugh, even talk with their mouths full. So here I need to decide the punctuation here. Now I notice that there is a dash here and a dash here. And if both of these dashes were correct, then I should be able to take out the point between the dashes and my sentence should still stand. But that's actually not correct because I'm saying production houses are using AI to create human-like voices from samples. And then I'm describing those voices. They are models that not only sound like specific performers, but also speak any language, right? So here I don't need a second dash because this single dash is kind of acting like a colon, right? A single dash can act as a colon. So the second dash is wrong. So I would actually just say performers, but also without another punctuation. So A is wrong. Now I can't have a semicolon after performers because the part but also is not an independent sentence. So a semicolon is wrong. And a colon is also wrong because I'm saying models that not only sound like specific performers, so I need to add something, but also speak any language, right? So a colon is used when you're creating expectation for a detailed explanation, but that's not what's happening here. So B. Other companies are refining the visual technology so actors look as if they were really speaking the new language. Now here I need to decide the tense, and here I'm talking about an activity that is ongoing, right? This is something that's new. Production houses are using AI. So this is the present continuous. And so other companies are refining. I would stick with the present continuous to maintain that sense of an activity that's ongoing. So A is a good answer, no change. If I say other companies refine, then that would make it sound that this is something that they do on a general basis, habitually, right? And that's not what I'm saying here. I'm talking about, as we said, an ongoing activity. So it's not B. I cannot have the past tense or the future perfect tense because I'm speaking about the present. So A is the best answer. As streaming services export American fare globally and foreign markets send their hits to the US, AI-generated dubbing could grow into a big business. Now here I have options that say fare globally, FARE globally, and then I have worldly, right? Now FAIR, fare, is One is that, something is fair, something is right. For example, it is fair for you to apologize to him. Or fair can also mean like a place where people gather as a carnival, right? For example, the fair outside the town. So that's not what I'm saying here. I'm talking about films, I'm talking about productions, right? Because streaming services export American fare. So I'm looking for FARE, not FAIR. So fare in this context would be a service. Like here we're talking about films, but fare can also refer to the food served in a restaurant, etc. Now, between globally and worldly, I need to say that American productions are now sent all over the world, right? So globally, the adverb is what I need. Worldly is an adjective, right? Which means somebody who is wise, who is street smart, right? For example, worldly wise. So I am not looking for an adjective. I'm looking for an adverb to indicate the global reach of American films. So I need FARE and globally, so B. The term artificial intelligence was first coined by John McCarthy in 1956 when he held an academic conference on the subject. AI models can provide youthful voices for aging actors. The technology can resurrect audio from celebrities who have died or lost the ability to speak. And it can tweak dialogue in post-production without the need for actors. So the writer wants to include a transition statement at this point to connect the previous sentence with the rest of the paragraph. Which choice best accomplishes this goal? So I'm talking about the fact that artificial intelligence generated dubbing would grow into a big business. And then I'm talking about the other things that this could be used for. They can provide youthful voices for aging actors, resurrect audio from celebs that have died, or tweak dialogue in post-production. So the fact that the artificial intelligence term was coined in 1956 is not really relevant at this point, so it's not A. Dubbing has allowed films from masters such as Federico Fellini and Satyajit Ray to reach a worldwide audience. So this again is not about artificially generated dubbing or voice alteration. This is about how dubbing as a process has allowed films from these masters, so it's not B. But the use of synthetic voices extends well beyond localizing foreign films. So this is a good option because I'm talking about not just localizing foreign films, which is what dubbing does, but other areas where synthetic voices can be used. And that's exactly what the rest of the paragraph is saying. So I like C. Korean films in particular are hugely popular with swaths of European and Latin American viewers. So this again is a very specific example of a film kind that is popular across geographies, perhaps due to dubbing. So it doesn't really fit how AI generated voice can change things on the ground. So it's not D. While the idea of customizing voice to improve your experience is tempting, the technology raises cumbersome ethical questions. Okay, so now I'm looking at the negatives of this, right? So I'm talking about the technology raising ethical questions, right? Now, cumbersome is normally used in a physical context, right? For example, a cumbersome machine. So I don't like cumbersome. Thorny is a good answer. Thorny is something which is troubling. So there are ethical questions that are troubling and they are raised by AI generated voice alteration. So B looks good. Strenuous is generally used to indicate an activity that is difficult. For example, strenuous exercise. So that doesn't fit the context. And gawky is awkward, right? For example, a gawky youngster. So again, we are not looking for awkward. We are looking for troubling. So B is the best answer. A recent case of the non-consensual replication of actor Morgan Freeman's voice without his permission calls attention to the dangers of manipulated media. Now, when you read this sentence, you can see that I'm already saying non-consensual, which means that the actor had not given his permission to use his voice. So this without his permission is redundant, right? It's not needed in the sentence because that's already understood from non-consensual. So you should just delete the underlined portion. Okay, Morgan Freeman's voice not bothering whether he would agree. So again, that means non-consensual. And unhindered by the actor's likely response. So that again means non-consensual and uses too many words. So D is the best answer. Then there is the more workaday concern of audio artists whom worry about getting replaced by computers. Nonetheless, AI can open a world of opportunities for filmmakers who have thus far only teased the enormous potential of voice alteration. Okay, so here I need to have a pronoun for audio artists. So it would have to be who, because this is the subject. So audio artists who worry, not whom, because whom would be used when there is the object of the sentence, right? For example, whom are you going to meet? I'm going to meet him, right? But here audio artists themselves are the subject, so it won't be whom. So any option with whom is wrong. And between worry and worries, it would have to be worry because artists is plural. So we need a plural verb, which is what worry is. So the answer is C. So this was an 11 question exercise that I built from a Wall Street Journal article. Let me know if this was helpful and if you would like me to make more such exercises. I'll see you guys in a new video soon. Take care. Bye-bye.